You're listening to Breaking BizDev with John Tyerman and Mark Wainwright. Conversations that break down, beat up, and redefine business development for the professional services firms of tomorrow. And now for your hosts, John and Mark.
Welcome, business developers, to another episode of Breaking BizDev. I'm John. As always, I'm joined by my trusty co-host, Mark Wainwright.
Hello, John, and we're here to talk about just a fascinating topic, accounting.
But what's broken about business development in the accounting industry, which is what we're all about.
I think there's a lot of people out there, a lot of experts out there in professional services firms who put their industry sort of on an island.
Yeah.
Whether it's management consulting or tech consulting or architecture and engineering, as people will hopefully have understood if they've listened to us long enough, is that we speak to the larger audience of professional services. And lo and behold, we've got people like lawyers and accountants and others sort of on that island as well. And the voices that we're bringing onto this podcast today are from the accounting industry. And and it is funny. I look at accounting as, I think, having one of the steepest mountains to climb as far as differentiation and, being able to put forward really good sort of contemporary pricing. And, it's just, truth be told, John, I have not engaged with an accounting firm, but I'll tell you, when I look at that would be one of the most challenging things that I would need to do from a sort of sales coach perspective, because every time somebody thinks about their accountant, they're like, oh yeah, I just pay my accountant $125 an hour and we're done. Right. And I hit them up, once a year, 6 weeks before April 15th. Right. It's like, that's right. That's kind of how we look at it. You're like, holy smokes. So an accountant has to build their entire annual budget based on this frenetic, 2 or 3 month sprint up to tax day. Right. I mean, it's daunting. It is daunting.
It is. And I've spent my whole career working with accounting firms from the agency perspective. And now as a solo business owner, from this perspective, accounting firms make up about a third of my client portfolio currently. And, it's funny, the very first day, like right out of college, it took me about 6 months to find a job. But when I found a job right out of college, I walked into Hinge marketing and I sat down, and Lee Fredrickson, the managing partner at the time, he says, all right, John, here's your first project. And it was working on this marketing budget benchmark study for the Association of Accounting Marketers.
Yeah.
And that's a study that Hinge and AAM, which is the abbreviation for the association, have done every other year since 2013. That was the inaugural study.
Right.
So my whole career, I've had, relations with this association. And it was just, as of this recording, it was just last week that I finally was able to fly out to their annual Summit Conference, recorded some podcast content out there, some man on the street bits that you'll hear in the back half of this episode. Yeah. And that was a fun time, but I was very much intently listening and asking folks about what they think is broken about marketing and sales in the accounting industry. And you're right, Mark. It's the same things that we hear in AEC, in consulting, in the legal space. So business development isn't just broken in your industry; it's rampant.
Yeah, exactly. And as we talk this through, one of the things that comes to mind is Ron Brown wrote a really fascinating tome on value pricing with professional services. And I know I've got the book sort of on the shelf above my shoulder over here. His background is in accounting. So that book, I would say by and large, was written with that industry in mind, which is the value pricing in accounting is almost an abstraction, because I think people immediately snap to like, oh yeah, accountants are just paying for some hours. And there's a bunch of other industries out there that maybe are listening that are kind of chained to this billable hour thing. And we've broken down and beat up and just everything short of knocked unconscious the whole concept of, this terrible hourly billing thing. But yeah, it's a ball and chain that accounting firms have to deal with year in and year out. And I don't know if that specific topic comes through in any of these voices, but what does is the level of frustration that they feel about certain aspects of business development that, like you said, are shared across many industries.
I think it's indirectly coming up, and it's kind of masked by the AI is the big buzzword these days. And I think accounting marketers and accounting business developers are realizing that they can use AI to still create value for clients while still keeping their prices the same. So they're reducing their costs significantly. So they're creating more margin. And I think that's what the accounting industry is starting to kind of gravitate towards. There's even a few marketing directors that I talk to who are developing in-house AIs within their firms.
Yeah.
But you mentioned I just want to touch on something that you mentioned earlier, Mark, and that was that you find it challenging to differentiate accounting firms. And the one way that I've seen accounting firms very effectively differentiate is by focusing on a specific industry.
Yep.
If you're listening to this, if you're part of an accounting firm and you really want to learn more about differentiation and positioning, check out, it was a recent episode we did, Don't Boil the Ocean. So go check out that episode if you want to hear a little bit more about our take on differentiation.
Good. All right, let's wander through here, because eventually, like you said, we've got you did your men on the street interviews, which I think are fun. We'll get to those, but yeah, where do we want to go next?
I just wanted to call out just a couple key takeaways from this event that I went to and what I've noticed in terms of what folks were saying is broken about business development in the accounting space. And before we get to in their own words, first of all, I loved the conference. It wasn't too big. It wasn't too small. Got some FaceTime with clients, which was great. Podcasts are hot right now, and it's a good thing.
That should come as no surprise to us, John.
Yeah. Well, it was just hilarious because, I went to this conference partly because I produce Hinge Marketing's podcast, Spiraling Up.
Yeah.
And they had a booth there, and we were going to turn it into a podcast studio. We were going to record some content. And the booth right next door to them, there was another creative agency that had a podcast set up. And so there was lots of podcast content being recorded on the floor at these events. And I just thought that was so cool.
Well, yeah, thanks for doing it. It's cool that you were there. And you talked with a number of people that, are associated with marketing, business development there, all different types of firms, different sizes. I mean,
yes.
Different sizes.
Below 1,000 employees and then above 1,000 employees, there's kind of this big divide in the accounting world where, the smaller, scrappier firms operate in one way and the big, larger accounting firms operate in a different way. So that's something that I picked up on was a little bit different and may influence what's broken in both of those kinds of organizations.
Yeah.
But the one thing that really, really bubbled up for me was this us versus them mindset from mostly the marketer's point of view. When I talked to people that sat in a marketing seat, it was when I asked them what they believe is broken about BizDev, that it seemed to trigger sales in their minds. So there's a business development organization within these accounting firms that's kind of siloed away from marketing. And it's their BizDev, their sales, we're marketing.
That's a good theme for people to bring up, as I think that exists. Now, for anyone listening here that's in a smaller size consulting firm, whatever industry you're in, a lot of times when you have conversations with people who have a specific role inside of a larger organization, you have people who are just specifically business developers, and they are not necessarily accountants who are responsible for that new business generation. How I want people to connect and relate to that is that just, if you're in a smaller firm, just remember that marketing, business development, actually doing the work, as maybe a doer seller, those are different hats that you can wear. And it's less about different people in different roles with different job descriptions and things. Smaller firms, it ends up just being one person or a handful of people that has to wear a bunch of hats. Even inside smaller firms where we can develop these conflicts between which hat do you wear more, which hat do you keep on all the time? Because a lot of times in a lot of the professional services firms that we know, John, the marketing hat just sits in the corner and collects dust while people are out there just having their sort of either their doer hat on or their seller hat on, and the whole marketing thing kind of gets kicked to the curb.
Totally. And to that point, I met a friend out there. Her name is Emily Huggins, and she is a tax advisor. But recently, she now took on a marketing role, she's like a hybrid doer seller or hybrid doer marketer, I should say. And her focus on marketing is social media. And she had success running a video campaign where the firm that she represents has been around for like 100+ years, and they've got clients that are family-owned businesses that have been a client for 100 years.
Yeah, crazy.
And so they like did a video series around that, and that went viral, relatively speaking, for an accounting firm.
Yeah.
And so that she was able to kind of forge and create a new role where she's hybrid, doing some of the work, but also contributing to business development through social media. But what she said was, and this is an acronym that I've never heard of, I asked her what's broken about business development. She said jelly. I said, well, what is jelly? She said, just exactly like last year.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about Sally, same as last year. And I thought that was an interesting point brought up from a doer seller, a doer marketer, about what's broken about business development.
Yeah, good. Jelly.
And one other common theme that brought up, and this was the last one that I want to touch on before we get to the video montage, is partner involvement in marketing is something that's broken in accounting firms. So a lot of accounting firms are structured in a way where they have multiple partners who have an ownership stake in the company and are responsible for some level of business development, whether that's marketing, sales. And one of the biggest frustrations that I heard from marketers was, we need the partner to do X, but they keep ghosting us, or they keep delaying, or they keep canceling the meeting, and we keep kicking the can down the road. And as someone who's been in that position before, that's super frustrating. Super frustrating.
Yeah. And I'm being sarcastic here, John, and I've never heard of that ever in any of the firms that I've ever worked with, ever.
Right. So it's not just unique to accounting.
No, it's everywhere. We don't need those senior partners to dedicate all their time to this stuff, but we need them to be modeling the right types of behaviors with their younger team members who are up and coming, who need to embrace finding and winning new work. And with particular long time, maybe really important client accounts, we need to make sure that they're doing enough to kind of keep and maintain those relationships, that no one gets complacent, that we just don't assume that our relationships, heck, 100-year, I don't know if anybody I work with has 100+ year relationships with their clients, but that'd be something. And you don't ever want to just assume that those are going to just be the same as next year.
That's exactly right. And then let's call a spade a spade. If you're a partner in a firm and you want to contribute to business development but can't, then empower your team to pick up the slack.
Yeah, good.
Just a message to all you partners out there.
Good. So how was it? How were you going to run through that? You're just going to let these rip.
I'll just set the stage real quick. So we're in this open networking room. It's right outside of the conference room. People are walking out. The setting is cocktail hour. It's at the end of the day. People are walking out of the big keynote conference. They're grabbing a beer. They're grabbing a glass of wine. And I'm roping people in and asking them, hey, what's broken about business development in accounting firms? And I think you will really enjoy what they had to say. I am here with Anthony Harlan of BPM. Anthony, how you doing?
I'm doing great, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you enjoying the conference so far?
Oh, sure am. It's been a blast. It's actually my first one. It's been really welcoming.
It's my first one too. Anthony, on the Breaking BizDev podcast, we're all about understanding what's broken about the way firms develop new business. Do you have any hot takes or any opinions on what's broken about the way accounting firms develop new business today?
Hey, if I've learned anything at this conference is if you've met one accounting firm, you've met one accounting firm. Everyone's on their own journey here. But if I had to make any sweeping generalizations, it's that this business has very long sales cycles compared to maybe what you're used to if you're coming to this from SaaS or from traditional retail or wherever else you might be coming from before joining this kind of professional services organization. So definitely just keep in mind that if you make a positive connection with a prospective client and it's a relationship where you've built a little bit of trust and maybe it's not the right fit right now, or they have to choose to maybe put a project on hold. A win is a positive relationship and not necessarily immediate closed one. Get yourself ready mentally for that just slightly extended sales cycle.
I love that the length of the sales cycle in accounting is so much different than technology, software as a service. Anthony, real quick before we cut, can you give the listeners a little overview of BPM?
Oh, proud to. Yeah, absolutely. So BPM is a top 35 full service accounting and advisory firm. We got our start on the West Coast about 38 years ago, but now you can find us worldwide. We're very proud to have just opened an office in the UK. You'll find us in Canada, India, and we're very proud of all the industries and services that we've expanded into. I've been with the firm for 4 years. I've seen the growth, and I just can't wait to see what's next for us.
Excellent. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for your time. Hello, Adam. Do you want to tell everybody your name and your company?
Sure thing. Thanks, John. Adam Wolf from MYCPE 1. And I'm excited to be here at the AAM conference. And I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with me.
Sure. Adam, do you just want to tell a brief overview of MyCPE?
Certainly, John. Happy to. So MyCPE 1 has a suite of services that help firms grow and scale their businesses. So we offer offshoring for more talent resources. We offer digital marketing, which is a big part of the reason why we're here at AIM. And we also offer continuing professional education credits. We've got the largest library of CPE content in the industry with a seamless interactive platform that helps you manage and track CPE credit. The common theme is they're all things that you need to do if you want to grow and scale the firm. So that's what we're all about.
Awesome. And on the Breaking BizDev podcast, our goal is to beat up and break down what's broken about business development. So my question to you is, what do you believe is broken about the way accounting firms go about business development today?
That's a very good question. Having been in charge of marketing and business development for a number of years in accounting firms, I could say there are probably a couple of things, but probably the number one thing is there's still a perception among a lot of partners that it's like a quick hit, quick fix kind of thing. Like you can do X, you can invest time and money in certain activity, and then you're going to get business like right away. And that's generally speaking just not how things work. This is a relationship-oriented business. It takes time and energy and many, many touches before you might even have a chance to win business. And I got news for you. You're going to do a lot of activities, meet a lot of people, and a lot of those things are never going to turn into business. That's sort of the nature of business development. You have to touch a lot of people over an extended period of time, right? The funnel is like really, really wide at the top. It gets more and more narrow, and eventually over time, hopefully a steady stream of business comes out. So I think there's this perception that it's like you put A in and you get like B and C out like right away is kind of wrong and broken.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for sharing what you believe is broken about the way firms conduct business development today. Thank you so much. I am here with Tina Branham from Allstate Legal. Tina, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be at the AAM conference. It's a great time.
So you having a good time so far?
Yes, and I'm a newbie.
I'm a newbie too. This is my first year.
Why we clicked.
That's right, and it's a great place to meet new people, meet new friends. But Tina, the Breaking BizDev podcast is all about beating up and breaking down what's broken about the way firms develop new business. So I'd love to ask you, what do you believe is broken about the way accounting firms develop new business today?
It's a lot of focus that I've heard is collaboration and bringing those ideas to all the different departments. And then, of course, getting everybody upstairs all on board. So there's a lot of moving parts. So everyone is here soaking up this great content from their peers. And you've got some of the best and, just trying to take it to the next level to bring in that revenue.
And you mentioned something to me earlier that I thought was really cool, and how you're doing a lot of print marketing for your clients, and it's cutting through the noise. Can you tell the folks a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Allstate Legal is a commercial printer. We do branding, commercial printing. We've been around, we're going on 80 years. And, as much as digital is so impactful, we need the visuals, we need to see it, we still need to touch it. Because there's so much to see, there's so much content out there, your eyes can hurt, and you miss things with all the filters on your email. So we're at a conference, and you hand someone that business card. It's another way to represent your brand. You're following up with a client, you have a printed note card. So you have all of this collateral that goes along with all these marketing ideas. It's just so crucial. It's so essential to growing.
Well, and you all state legal. It's on the lanyards here.
Yes, we did wonderful lanyards. We've had really good feedback. They're kind of silky around your neck, and it's just a nice way. We can have a little print to talk about our services that we do, and just a way to showcase, some of the printed collateral that you can have at these great conferences.
And who doesn't like getting a postcard in the mail, right?
I love it. It's a special touch. It makes you feel special because they may miss your email. They might have a filter and not able to click on your email. So getting that note card, you can have a special tagline and just something about your interaction with that client that you remembered, and it makes you feel good. It's a good way to just kind of maybe open the door and start that conversation with your prospect.
So it sounds like what you believe is broken about the way firms are developing new businesses, just not being creative enough to cut through the noise.
I would say there's still a lot of steps to kind of make that project take off. So you just got to keep pushing, Just don't stop, marketers. Keep going.
Keep going. Wise words. Well, Tina, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope to see you at AIM next year.
Cheers. All right. I am here with Allie Blessing. Allie, can you tell the good people about your firm?
Yeah, so I work at Mauldin and Jenkins. We are headquartered in Atlanta. We're $100 million plus in revenue, and we've got 14 offices in 6 states.
Awesome. And so the Breaking BizDev podcast is all about beating up what's broken in business development. And so my question to you is, what do you believe is broken about the way accounting firms go about business development today?
Yeah, so I think, as we continue to have more business development full-time professionals, sometimes marketing and business development can feel like they're not having the same sort of goals. And so I think seeing that we have more in common than that we don't have in common, I think sometimes it seems like we have different things that we're going for and we're not aligned, but really we're all going after the same goal, which is more revenue, growing our firms, and building for the future.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of friction between sales and marketing within accounting firms.
Yes, I definitely think there is. I think, business development is continuing to grow, whereas marketing has kind of been the old hat for a while. And so when we have new things, they sometimes are a little scary because change is scary. And so instead of, fighting against each other, I think we can work together for the greater good of our firms and helping each other to continue to progress in our careers.
We are stronger together. Well, Allie, thank you so much for sharing your insights. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much.
We are coming at you live from the 2025 AAM Summit in Phoenix, Arizona. And I am here with my friend and colleague, Joe Pope, partner at Hinge. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Joe, I've got a question for you. So on Breaking BizDev, we like to beat up and break down topics related to business development. And I have one question for you. What do you believe is broken about the way accounting firms go about business development today?
Fancy you ask me this question because I brought props. So Hinge does a ongoing study every other year for the Association of Accounting Marketing called the Marketing Budget Benchmarking Study. And it's a really interesting opportunity for us because we get to talk to a diverse list of accounting firms, all shapes and sizes, different areas of the country, global, national based, things along those lines. And we ask a wide variety of questions about how they build their budgets in marketing. And one interesting thing that continues to stand out constantly is that high growth accounting firms spend twice the amount of money that their low growth peers spend in the form of marketing, sales. We kind of, I know you've got your takes on this, but we do ask the questions across the entirety business development structure. So, from inception to like we're retaining clients and things along those lines. We've got some other findings in here, but the 2 times thing, it stands out. It's been a recurring trend, but that gap has not been this big until this year's study. And I think a lot of that is just coming out of misconceptions about how to build budgets in the accounting space. And coming out of COVID, where, you know, everybody went crazy for digital, and then, okay, now we're back to doing our golf tournaments and whatever. That just misalignment in the understanding of the value of these types of tactics, like where we're sending people to, how we are investing our dollars in what is truly a non-billable type setup, is broken in terms of accounting marketing.
So it sounds like it's twofold. It sounds like, number one, firms that aren't growing, their business development function is broken because they're underinvesting on the whole. But then also, the tactics that they are investing in aren't moving the needle.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some interesting things stand out as well. One of the big findings, I think you might like that one. 64.3% of high growth firms plan to increase their budget for video production. How about that? Crazy. So, I mean, there is things that definitely stand out here in terms of where they should put their investments. You know, I think that we're all pretty well aware of the value of, honestly, sticking a microphone in front of somebody who could potentially pay you money, like we pay him money. So,
well, if you're listening to this and you enjoy the Breaking BizDev podcast, chances are that you would also enjoy the Spiraling Up podcast from Hinge Marketing.
I need a hat.
Well, it's got to be a purple hat, flat brim. Yeah. I got the trucker style.
That's right. Me too. Yeah. I usually do that as well.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for sharing what you believe is broken about the way accounting firms do business development.
Appreciate you having me on, brother.
I am here with Cece, and can you tell a little bit about your firm?
Yeah, so I work for Christianson, CPAs, and consultants. We just crossed the threshold of 100 full-time employees, but we're a full-service CPA firm located in West Central Minnesota with 5 locations across the state.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry, I didn't get your last name. Can you give your last name for the folks out there?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Cece Roeder.
Cece Roeder. Okay. Cece, on the Breaking BizDev podcast, our whole premise is business development is inherently broken, the way that firms go about BD, sales, marketing. And I want to ask you, what do you think is the one thing that is the most broken about the way accounting firms go about sales and marketing today?
I think just the thing that is broken about BD today is assuming that just because someone is a partner or some senior level in the firm that they are automatically going to be rainmakers. There's all sorts of different types of people. Some of us like to be in our own lanes and just heads down, get the work done. Some of us are just out there, you know, living that BD life. So I think that's what I think is broken, is just assuming that one size fits all.
I love that. And one of the things that I subscribe to is that everyone can play a role in sales and marketing, and some people have different skills than others. So it sounds like what you're saying is, play to your strengths of your team.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone is a rock star in a certain area, embrace that rather than trying to, square peg in a round hole. Yeah.
Well, Cece, thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Thank you.
All right. I am joined by Arlene, Labrador. Arlene, could you tell a little bit about your firm?
Yes, I am Arlene Labrador. I'm a South Florida business developer for the firm. I'm a market kind of business developer. I'm a generalist in every industry. I take care of it, and it's been a great pleasure to see the journey that Cherry Bekaert had been taking, and glad to be here and being the winner for the first time for this new award that is a business developer, and just very, very happy about that.
Well, congratulations on winning the inaugural Business Developer of the Year. So my question for you, Arlene, is on the Breaking BizDev podcast, we like to beat up and break down what we believe is broken about the way firms develop new business. So my question to you is, what do you think is the number one thing that's broken about the way accounting firms go about business development today?
I don't think it's nothing is broken. I think it's the way you see puzzles. You know, sometimes they don't match, they don't fit, and it's trying to bring that, color or form that will make things happen. And sometimes it's just that is the growing pain for different things, either for growth, the journey of the clients, the strategies, and we just want to make sure that the puzzle is completed with all the teams, through marketing, through business development, through the partners. Sometimes they think that we are taking over some of their roles. That is something that I would like to see, or I'm seeing that they are being gracious to think, okay, I'm the technical guy. I love to have that support of the person that has the best interest for the firm and the client, and being the one that I can throw things to it. And that puzzle is coming along very well. And I think that's the same way with marketing, or, anyone else. I think it's, as I said, it's not a broken process. I think it's putting together the pieces.
Love that. So it sounds like perhaps maybe what would be broken, or someone might interpret it, is the lack of patience for putting together that puzzle.
It could be. I think it's a journey. It's a great way of seeing things, and I think we have on our own business developers a lot to do with making that happening, because we are the drive. We are the ones, kind of the glue of what is happening, because we are all over. We have, like, I call myself an octopus. I am talking, with the clients. I'm the ad. I'm flying solo, but trying to put everyone together in a team mind. That sometimes is kind of difficult, but it's not impossible. Let's put it that way.
I love that. Well, Arlene, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and congratulations again on winning that award. I am here with my friend and colleague, Austin McNair of Hinge. Austin, how you doing?
I am excellent right now and a little bit tired. This has been a great conference, but wonderful.
A little tired, huh? Where are you flying in from, Austin?
Yeah, I traveled here from South America, actually, all the way from Brazil. So I don't think the conference did an award from who came the furthest, but I think I'm a front runner right now, flying in from southern Brazil.
I'd say so. Well, Austin, the Breaking BizDev podcast is all about business development is broken. And there's a number of things that can be wrong with business development. And we're here at the Association for Accounting Marketing Summit in Phoenix, Arizona. And so I would love to ask you, Austin, what do you believe is broken about the way accounting firms go about business development today?
I think that the first answer that comes to my mind is just investing in enough people, like business development people, right? In our research that we do with AAM, we have this research partnership with the Marketing Budget Benchmark Study. We actually see a trend that the fastest growing firms not only hire more marketing people as a part of their team, they also do the same thing on the business development side. And so if you're asking me, like, what's broken in biz dev, that seems to be like maybe the number one answer for people is getting more team members involved, and maybe bringing in more talent on the business development side of the house to generate more business, to support other team members. Another real detailed thing about that is that the high growth firms, they had more people, and then the average salary of those people was a little bit lower. So having more specialists who can support, more coordinator level people, I think we're seeing kind of that be a trend of the fastest growing firms. Again, do we have enough hands? Can we be fast? Can we be responsive? Can we have more proof for quality? If you have more people on your team, all those things become a lot easier to accomplish.
Interesting. So it sounds like these firms are under-investing in the human capital for their business development teams.
I've talked to a lot of people this weekend, and one of the things that has been a theme has been, yeah, I could use more support. I could use more help on my team. I could use, we have ideas. We have things that we want to innovate, things we want to do, but it's just hard when we don't have the people power to invest in those things. And so, of course, I'm talking to a lot of marketers, but on the business development side of the house, I've got to think that these folks are having the same thing going on.
Very good. Well, Austin, thank you so much for sharing what you believe is broken about business development. All right, Mark, do you have any takeaways from that 20 minutes of man on the street interviews?
Well, the themes. The themes that we talk about regularly, John, are themes that cropped up, here and there. What Adam and Anthony and Joe and Arlene, they were sharing their thoughts, and there's nothing radically different there. But the point is that professional services in general, people who are out there selling their expertise, not widgets, face a number of similar challenges. And like you said, the sales function often butts heads with the marketing function, that marketing needs to take time, in order to do its job. All these things take time, right? The selling takes time. The sales cycles are long; they're not short. So yeah, a ton of similar themes. I don't know. You were there, so you were experiencing it. I'll ask you, what were your big takeaways?
I mean, like you, these are all very familiar topics that we've talked about on past episodes, that we've identified ourselves in across industries. But I love the way that Arlene articulated what's broken about business development. She said it's not broken, but it's like a puzzle, and you have to figure out how to put it together.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really good way to take a look at it and to think about it. And it's more of a positive attitude. And I just really appreciated that from her. And then, there was a similar sentiment from Austin, who talked about the mix and makeup of marketing staff. So that's very kind of puzzle-esque, if you will. And then Tina from Allstate Legal, when she talked about differentiating with print marketing and physical marketing, because digital is so saturated these days. I mean, who doesn't like to get a postcard, right?
Yeah, right.
So these are all great things, and it was a pleasure to be out there.
Yeah. Well, good on you to get out there and do it. You took full advantage. Frankly, it was a little unexpected that you'd be, doing your man on the street thing, but I think it's great. We really enjoy bringing additional voices onto the podcast. We think, at least it's our hope, that people who listen get some value out of them. And, lo and behold, they reinforce a lot of things that we've talked about for a long period of time. A lot of things that people sort of feel are going on in their organizations, but, they aren't necessarily top of mind, or they're not, screaming and, staring them in the face. So just hearing other industries and other people facing similar stuff, I think, is really useful. So yeah, I appreciate you doing that.
Totally. All right. And for those that are listening, thank you so much for making it this far. And Mark and I will talk to you next time.
Until next time, John.
Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Breaking BizDev. Subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or listen to the show at breakingbizdev.com. This episode was produced by Red Cedar Marketing. If you think a business podcast is right for your company, visit redcedarmarketing.com to learn more.